How are you doing? It's been a minute since I popped in on you all. Since I did a YouTube drive-by. It has been a minute since I drove by on you all. What do they call it? Since I pulled up on you. But listen, you know, I just left the nail salon. I was getting me a pedi. I was getting me a pedicure. I was sitting there quiet, enjoying the pedicure. I don't too much like to talk. I like to enjoy things. And the download I received while I was there is the title that I have, but it's talking about faith. And I know when you're operating and you're walking in faith. Hello, Joan or Joanne. How are you? And I know sometimes when you're operating and walking in faith, we tend to lose things. And we lose things while we are walking in faith. And we tend to focus on the things that we are losing. That's the download I have. When I come, I don't be rehearsing messages like that. I just speak from what the Spirit tells me, And we focus on the things that we're losing. But the download I received in the nail salon was that faith is a process. It is a process. And what I received was, what is you exercising? What is you walking in faith? What is it teaching you? That's what I heard. What is it teaching you? What are you learning in this process? I know it's hard. I've walked through it. I've been walking through it. Listen here. I can relate to you all. I'm not just here talking, blowing smoke. I can relate when it comes to the process and walking by faith, and the thing that you're hoping for and the thing that you're wanting is not happening. It's not happening. You don't see where it's going to happen. You don't see how this thing is going to turn out. You just don't see it. You're just walking by faith. And that's what faith is. Faith is a walk. Faith is the things that you can't see. As the Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith, the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. I think I recited that correct. You're hoping for a thing, but you're not seeing it. You are praying for a thing, but you're not seeing it. You're fasting for a thing, and you're not seeing it. The message I received is pay attention to the process. What are you learning in the process of hoping for the thing that you are desiring? And you know what? This sometimes right here, sometimes what'll happen is when you're going through the process of faith and God is transforming you, He's making you a new person. He's still going to give you what you're asking for. But by the time you get that thing that you're hoping and praying for, it's not that you're not going to be appreciative. You're going to be like, I really didn't have, I would have been good without this thing. That's what the process of faith is teaching you all, teaching us. I ain't gonna say you all, us. It's teaching us to be content in all steps, all processes. If we have the thing or not, faith is teaching us to be content with where we are. The process is teaching us to trust God regardless. Regardless if we get the thing or not. If he opened the door or not. Process is teaching you. I don't know about you all, but the process have taught me to appreciate everything, even when it's not exactly what I was asking for. The process taught me to be appreciative in everything. To look at what I do have as opposed to what I don't have. It teaches you to appreciate what is present, what you have right now. What are you thankful for right now? Can you go to your fridge and open your fridge and you have food? Are you healthy? Are you able to walk? Are you able to give people extra money? You can give somebody something. Are you able to be a blessing to someone? Do you have a car? Can you put gas in your car? Can you afford food? Do you have clean water? If someone calls you today and asks you to lend them some money, because we are lenders over here on the Responsibility Channel. We're not borrowers. We don't borrow. We are lenders. We are the lenders. If someone calls you right now, are you in a position to lend them a few $100s? A few dollars? This is what the process of faith is teaching us. This is what it's teaching us. To be good and okay and content in and out of season. Appreciative, showing gratitude. I got me a long gratitude. In my prayers, I got a lot of things that, I thank God for. I mean, a lot of things. Simple things, nothing major. Like being able to see, being able to speak, being able to hold his phone in my hand, being able to pay my phone bill. Just the little things. And that keeps me grounded. That keeps me from complaining. That keeps me from worrying. Because a lot of us We have a spirit of worrying, and God tell us not to do that. He tell us to cast our cares. It tries to creep up on me sometimes. But I have to remember what my Father says. I have to remember what my Father says. If he said he'll supply all of my needs, I have to believe that. If he said, if I submit myself to him, all of those things will be added to me, I have to believe that. If he told me to cast all of my cares because he cared for me, I have to believe that. If he told me if I obey his commandments, I shouldn't have a need if I'm doing what he told me to do. I have to believe that. Have to believe it. Hi, Tyrenia. I have to believe it. If he told me whatsoever I ask for in prayer, believing I shall receive it, I got to believe that. But am I believing in his word and what he says? What is the process teaching me? Because a lot of times God tells us to have faith in things that are beyond our imagination so he could take us through the process, so he could do a work in us. Because he knows us. He knows we need to be pruned and transformed in our inner man. He knows this. So sometimes it'll take us longer, sometimes years, to get what it is that we're asking God for. But our Father is so wise and he's so intelligent to the point that he will not give us anything before we have been equipped to manage and handle what it is that he's asking for. He won't do it for his children. You have people that's out there getting things out of prematurely, but they're not equipped. That's just like, we're always talking about, and I'm glad I didn't, we're always talking about winning the lottery, or, I know some of you all, back in the days, you talk about winning the lottery, and if somebody left you this, and if you came into that type of money, and this, that, and the other, you'll lose it. Most of us would have lost that money. Most of us would be broke today because we have not been processed. We have not been equipped. We have not been, and God knows it. Some people luck up and get those millions, but it is the process that teaches you how to maintain the millions, how to be a good steward. Because if you go from 0 to 1,000,000 in one day without the process, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. And that's why God don't give us things we ask for when we want it. He said we can have it, but it's not going to be when we want it. Not when we want it. I was falling asleep in that pedicure chair. I was falling asleep. The little lady did pretty decent. She did pretty good. We're not going to know how to manage it. And I thank God that he didn't give me the things that I said I wanted, that I prayed for at the time. I'm glad he didn't give me those things. I'm glad he didn't give me the money that I said I wanted back then to make. I'm glad he didn't give it to me, because I wasn't managing the 40 and 50,000 that I used to make. So how am I going to manage $1 million? How am I going to manage 6 figures? Now I can, but back then I wasn't able to. I wasn't able to. I would have, that money would have been ran through, and I would have blown that money, blew it on foolishness. So I thank God he didn't give me what I asked for. I thank God he didn't. Now, somebody dropped me $1 million, 500,000. I'll manage it. I'll be a good steward. I know for a fact I'll be a good steward. So that's what I want to come talk to you all about. The process of faith. It's in the process when we learn all of the details and juicy ingredients, and when we learn, it's in that little that span of you praying for what you want until you actually get what it is that you want. So you said you wanted a certain type of car back in 2000, and here it is 2023, and you finally got the car that you prayed for back in 2000. But how many cars did you have to go through to get your dream car? Did you take care of the cars that you had? Did you keep up with the maintenance? Did you keep the oil change and tires rotated? You realize it takes maintenance to keep up with the car. And then now you want this luxury car where the maintenance is even more expensive and bougie. Luxury cars, you got to have some money because the maintenance is higher, it's more frequent, right? So by now you've got the training of managing all of those other cars. Now you know every 3 months I got to make sure I'm on top of my oil changes. Or every 3,000 miles, you have a feel of what you have to do. Because just to get something and not knowing how to maintain it is a waste. You can get the luxury car, but can you afford the tires on the luxury car? Because luxury car tires, BMWs, Mercedes-Benz, you just can't put any kind of tires on those cars. Ferraris and all those, high-end cars. It's a specific care. It's specific care you have to do for those cars. My prayer now, I used to be praying for stuff. My prayer now, Lord, I don't want nothing I can't maintain. That's my prayer, Lord. Give me this only if I can manage it. Only if I can manage it. Only if I can take care of the insurance on it and the maintenance. I don't want anything that I can't maintain. I don't want a big mansion if I can't maintain. I don't want no big house with all the bedrooms and if I can't maintain it by myself. Without stressing. Without the yoke of it being easy. I don't want to be a prisoner to things. I don't want to be a prisoner to material things. I remember I was talking to this lady because I used to love going to look at houses. I used to love yard selling, and going to look at houses. They usually have open houses on Saturdays, but I like yard selling too. So, I stop in and look at the open house just because I could. It's open house. And I remember talking to this one realtor. She was the realtor. And I was telling her, I said, I just want a house where I can maintain it, if something, were to happen to my husband at the time. I told her, I said, I wanted something where I can maintain it on my own if something happened to him. I don't want to be burdened with the maintenance and the maintain of a house. And she said, you know what? She said, that's a wise thing to do, because she had this big house in this community that I'm familiar with. And she said, we're always in the yard. She said, we can't even enjoy the house because the yard is so big. We're always out maintaining, trying to beautify the yard to keep up with the, with the property. And she said, we really don't get to enjoy it because I'm at work most of the time. And then when I do have a day off, me and my husband, we're out in the yard. And I was like, wow. I don't want to be in bondage. I want to be free. I don't want to do anything or buy anything for anyone else, or just to say, I got this, to prove a point to someone. No, I want to be able to get things that I can manage. Not afford, because, just because you can afford it doesn't mean that you can maintain it. We have to understand there's a difference. Just because you can afford it does not mean that you will be able to maintain it. Because unfortunately, the American way, due to credit, quite a few people can afford quite a few things with their credit. But can you maintain it without being stressed out, without it being a burden hanging over your head? And I didn't want that. I don't want that. I like things paid off. I like things paid. I don't want no payments if I can help it. If I can help it. I'm believing God for my next home. I want to be able to write a check. I want to be able to do a wire transfer, pay for it cash. I don't want no financing. But that's faith. You see what I'm saying? That's faith. So if I'm believing for that, right? What has to transpire, transform in me to get me to a place where I can write a check, I could do a wire transfer? What has to happen in me for me to take on a mindset of, okay, it's a lot of money for a house to pay for it up front. What has to change in me for me to, when that time comes, because I know it's going to come, process of faith, what type of mindset or mind state I need to be in? What do I need to be doing now to prepare me for my next step? What do I need to be doing? What things I need to have in place? It is the process. The process. So there's things that happen in between the time when you say, I want to do this, that, and the other. And then to the point to where you get this, that, and the other. That little space in between. What happens in between there? You got to change your mindset. Change your spending habits. You have to work on yourself to become a new person. Hang around people who's believing like you believe. Because there's nothing like being around people who don't have any faith, who are just negative and they don't believe. You want to do what? No. The American way, who? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go get me a credit line. It takes another level of faith to be around people who think in abundance, think in wealth. You know, you got some people, I used to hear them say, you're going to always have debt. I don't believe that. I don't believe you're going to always have debt. You can change that. You have people say you're always going to owe somebody. That's different. Your day-to-day living expenses, like your, you need lights and water and food. I don't consider that as debt. That's just daily living expenses, monthly living expenses. But you have those people that don't have the mindset. And that's why the process is so important. You have the people that don't have the mindset to believe how you believe. You have the people that don't believe in sacrificing a little bit now. Sacrificing a little bit now to enjoy a whole lot later. You don't have people that think that way. You don't have people that think that just because we are on a budget, that doesn't mean that we have to deny ourselves. We're on a budget to make sure we don't overspend because we're trying to do something. If you know you like eating out once a month, you put that in your budget. You don't always have to deny yourself what it is that you enjoy doing. You just have to put that in your budget. And when people hear budget, folks act as if you're speaking another language or you're cursing them out or something. Just another term for money management. You're trying to manage your finances. You're managing what's going in and what's coming out. You're managing what you spend. But if you don't have a person on the same page as you and don't see the vision, it'll be hard. It's going to be a challenge. If you don't have people believe in what you believe, it's going to be a challenge. So, that's what I want to talk to you all about. Look, that pedicure put me in a daze. Put me to sleep. The pedicure put me to sleep. Hi, Jacqueline. But that's all I want to come talk to you all about. That's all I want to come say. That was a download, the message that I received. The process of faith. There is something happening. There is something happening in the process. The process. Yes, Jacqueline, just catch the replay, dear. Yes, I'm going to leave it up, but I just wanted to come drop that download to you all before I head and get some gas. And you all be blessed. Y'all be blessed. I hope you're having an awesome afternoon. And I'll be back to talk to you all probably tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Probably tomorrow. Yep. So you all be blessed, okay?